Well, I'll tell you what stinks. Bill Maher's stupidity stinks.
100%.
What
a moron!
I have been a fan of his, and a lot of his stuff that he had done back in the day. But his and I tweeted out that I think there's just to him, and I said, "Look, man, I've been a fan of yours, but your take on Stan Lee and what comics meant to people,
twat take,
Here's a dong take,
beyond dong twat take." And I'm not even a big comic book fan in general. I like comic book movies as much as the next guy, but like. Someone was like, "Oh, is it only because he likes because he said about comic books?" No, dummy. The whole point is that Riley, read me the quote.
Which one do you want? There's a lot of dumb shit.
All right,
takes
give me as much as you can.
Well, okay, so he starts it. Mind you, it's 3 paragraphs, so it's a very thorough investigation here. The guy who created Spider-Man and the Hulk has died, and America's in mourning, deep, deep mourning for a man who inspired millions to, I don't know, watch a movie, I guess. He kind of goes on. Somebody on Reddit said, "I'm so incredibly grateful to live in a world that includes Stan Lee." And he said, "Personally, I'm grateful I lived in a world that included oxygen and trees, but to each his own." He goes on and on and on.
What a self-entitled prick.
Did they have beef or something?
No,
like, why would he?
He basically says
turd.
Yeah, so he basically says like for 20 years something happened where adults have now said that comic books are important and that they're acting like it's literature and whatnot. And he says this last paragraph is this. I'm not saying we've necessarily gotten stupider. The average Joe is smarter in a lot of ways than he was in, say, the 1940s, when a big big night out was a Three Stooges short and a Carmen Miranda musical. The problem is we're using our smarts on stupid stuff. I don't think it's a huge stretch to suggest that Donald Trump could only get elected in a country that thinks comic books are important.
That's the words.
You're a buffoon.
Yes, that is the words of a buffoon. That is the word of an idiot. Because I will tell you what, had he been sitting with me at the Black Panther premiere, looking around RB3's face, who's one of the most very, very intelligent, passionate, and
works his ass off,
and watching his face of what Black Panther meant to him. And meant to an entire culture, to a total race of people, and what that meant in the 60s when you made that particular comic book, and what that meant back then, and then that transferring into a movie, the social implications of what that movie meant to so many people. Dummy. If you're saying that's how people that's what it doesn't mean to people, that it doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm so frustrated just thinking about that, because it's like you can't. How in the world do you for bullying? Okay, I know tons of kids who have reached out to me and said certain things like the Schmoedown, okay, means so much to them. Imagine what Spider-Man. Imagine what Spider-Man meant to these kids. Okay, this geeky kid who was bullied, who then turned it around and became. It was about being able to relate real life problems to these fantastical characters, and he took real life. I mean, what a dumb statement. And he's such an elitist. He'll never say I'm sorry. He'll never look at it because he's such a pompous turd.
It's not the first, second, or third time he's done something like this. He's a D-bag. And just because he's on the same side of the aisle that I am does not mean I like him in any way, shape, or form. He's an actual dick. And the fact that he said this made me really happy, because it helps me understand why he says all the things he says. He doesn't get it.
No. Or he tries to just get a rise out of people.
No,
that's what I feel like.
I
feel like this was just kind of.
Also, someone pointed out in the chat that Bill Maher was in Iron Man 3.
He was.
Right. Yeah, but that's the thing though. So the question is
idiot.
Because look, here's the other thing: is why would you want, if it meant that so much to people, if you see that so many people are responding to this guy passing away and talking about how much it meant, why would you shit on that? What? It's just he's as much of a bully as anybody else.
Yeah. Because you're upset people aren't talking about you and all the good you've done for the world or whatever it is. I mean, it makes no sense. You're right, giving the examples you gave, talking about inclusion, diversity, everything that Stan Lee has done for the comic book reading community, moviegoers, anybody, everywhere. Like, it doesn't make sense. If you don't get it, just shut up.
Right.
Don't say anything.
Yeah, he's one of those turds that just walks in and he's like, "Oh, I'm above comic book movies. I got to give a really good reference." I don't know. I'm saying that George Takei all of a sudden, but it's like, "Oh my, Bill Maher." But he's just, you can see him. laughing, sticking his nose up, thinking that he's above everybody because he just watched the Avengers, and he's like, I'm waiting for the movies to come out in December. It's like, F him.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, F him. I mean, I'm curious. So, if we're looking at the chat room, are there people that, I mean, this is probably
the wrong group of people.
It's probably the wrong group. I think most people are probably going to be on our side on this one, but I just can't imagine why you would be on his side. Just unless you feel the same way. It's like comic book movies, and if you don't really understand what Stan Lee meant to people.
But if he had said that, like, can somebody explain it to me? Because I don't fully understand. What did he mean to people? That's so different than you guys are all idiots if you thought that he meant.
This is why Trump got elected, because people find comic books important.
His main point here, he calls the thing adulting, right? The blog post is called adulting because he's saying that, you were in comic books as a kid, right? And then now, because you continue to read these comic books, it's really hard to go get car insurance. It's like, because people are now calling it, oh, I'm adulting right now, so I have to go, get my car insurance. I have to go get my medical insurance, and therefore, I'm having struggles with that. And he's kind of referencing the fact that you like comic books, so you're not growing up.
Yeah.
That so to me is just...
Well, I was reading over his shoulder. He said something about getting big boy books without the pictures.
Yes.
He was really digging it in.
He's like, when are these, idiots going to, these children going to graduate to big boy books without the pictures?
And there's people that can't do both, right? Like, can't read novels and comic books.
I can't read.
I wish I would have.
You could talk to him.
No, I would have loved to get Schnepp's take on this.
Schnepp would have laid into him.
Because Schnepp is like you said, same lane. Same lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Some people like Tom King, who I believe he's a comic book writer as well. He shared the picture of Stan Lee. Stan's soapbox started to make the rounds when he passed because he commented on bigotry and this is in the 60s. Do you have that
quote? Read this quote from Stan Lee.
From Stan Lee?
The one, it's that big comic.
Yeah. Let's lay it right on the line. Yeah. Bigotry and racism are among the deadliest social ills plaguing the world today. Can you believe this is in the 60s? Yeah. But unlike a team of costume supervillains, they can't be halted with a punch in the snoot or a zap from a ray gun. The only way to destroy them is to expose them, to reveal them for the insidious evils they really are. The bigot is an unreasoning hater, one who hates blindly, fanatically, indiscriminately. If his hang-up is black men, he hates all black men. If a redhead once offended him, he hates all redheads. If some foreigner beat him to a job, he's down on all foreigners. He hates people he's never seen, people he's never known, with equal intensity, with equal venom. Now, we're not trying to say it's unreasonable for one human being to bug another, but although anyone has the right to dislike another individual, it's totally irrational, patently insane to condemn an entire race, to despise an entire nation, to vilify an entire religion. Sooner or later, we must learn to judge each other on our own merits. Sooner or later, if man is ever to be worthy of his destiny, we must fill our hearts with tolerance. For then, and only then, will we be truly worthy of the concept that man was created in the image of God, a God who calls all of us his children.
Yeah, so Dave. Bill Maher, after hearing that and saying that's not important, kindly go fuck yourself.
Twat take. And most importantly, if you watch his episode of Comedians in the Car Getting Coffee, he is not likable. So
Bill Maher?
He's the least likable.
He's a pompous
he's not likable as a person.
He reminds me of potato farts.
Yeah.
It's still unclear. It's unclear.
He looks like what you smell like after you fucking fart into after eating potatoes.
You're going to just have to explain.
I just did.
It's
like if someone eats a lot of potatoes and then their stomach goes off, it's like that's what I feel like Bill Maher.
Potato chips?
No, potatoes, like full-on potatoes.
Who farts after they eat potatoes?
Bill Maher, and he smells like potatoes.
This is a good...
He smells like the fart or the potato?
Potato fart.
I don't know it.
Well, there you go.
It's fine.
Fine.
People are now saying, using it like, I don't want to make a Bill Maher out of myself.
Right. Yeah,
like Greg Capullo says, I never speak on topics I know little or nothing about. Why? I never want to be the fool. Yeah. In other words, I don't want to make a Bill Maher out of myself.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he really stepped in a big hole, and he'll never admit it. His stupid big head will. I mean, you talk about offending people. He offended so many people, so many races, so many different cultures for doing this. He's an imbecile.
Army Hammer, hold my beer.
Yeah, Bill Maher, you're an absolute imbecile.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, I've followed along and I've watched Real Time with Bill Maher. Sometimes I like the interviews he does. This time I went, wow, I'm done with him. I've never done that before.
There are moments, I get why some people like him, not for this kind of thing, but
I
there
know
are
he's
moments
pompous,
when you watch a show and you're like, That's good.
Yeah,
I will say.
I've told you I was a fan for a long time.
Yeah.
There's things that he does that are really he's smart. He has
Clearly not that smart.
Well, there's difference. There's
Everybody's talking about it.
You know, in that particular aspect. But I mean, there's a lot that he does good. There's a lot of things that he does for his side of things. But I also now, after this, I understand why my mother can't stand him. She's on the other side of it all, right? But he's a pompous, arrogant prick. You're right, Mom. He is. He sucks.
He's been
sucks.
this way. I remember working for the production company where I was working on Fat Actress, that Showtime show, and these producers did stand-up shows. And they the minute I started working there, they told me a story of Bill Maher as a colossal prick, like working with him because he was just that way. This was in the 90s, so he's been doing this for a while.
Such a bad name for liberals. Like, this is why.
Yeah. Shave his head and throw him in a trash can.